Good morning and welcome back to After the Run. In this episode, I'm going to talk about my week of clean eating after a week of horrible eating. To recap, 2 weeks ago I went on a vacation to Hawaii with my family. I threw all health and exercise rules out the window for a week and was glad I did it. If you want to hear more about that, go back and listen to the last episode in the archives. But it was just a really enjoyable experience and I'm grateful that I did that, but the consequence was I gained 17.2 pounds in like a 10-day period. So for this week, I decided to take all the challenges that I've done so far and then add to them all the things I lost back in 2018, 2019 when I lost 100 pounds. And what that meant for me was only eating 2 meals a day, so intermittent fasting till 11 a.m. and then having a good solid lunch. I could have as much as I want, but having a protein heavy good solid lunch. Then doing the same thing for dinner. No snacks in between, no late night snacking. Only drinking water, no sugar drinks or even sugar substitute drinks. Exercising regularly, so that was going to be 4 days a week of cardio and 2 days a week of strength training. Sleeping well, trying to prioritize sleep, getting to sleep and doing those things that would help me sleep comfortably. And to do that for 7 days. And the problem I had, so let me say, I tried really hard to do it. I really did. And for the first 4 days, I was perfect. And that was the goal, was to have a perfect week of clean eating. Now, after 4 days, I went with a community religious group on a pioneer trek, which meant we reenacted the pioneers coming across the plains by pushing a hand cart for 3 days. We trekked 20 miles. It was hard work, but also it was very different from the routine. It's really hard to do intermittent fasting, for example, when you're walking 10 miles. You kind of need the calories. And so I still tried to eat as clean as possible on that, but by the end of trek, I was even saying yes to like Hostess super processed treats and things like that. Now I didn't go crazy with it, but I did have a few of those things. Instead of just water, I started putting some electrolytes in, so just doing the no sugar Gatorade mixes and stuff like that. So I wasn't perfect. But I can report back now. I weighed in. I haven't done my final weigh-in yet, but I lost somewhere between 12 and 15 pounds this week, which is incredible. I don't think I've ever lost that much weight in a week. I've also never gained 17 pounds in a week. So to see those fluctuations, obviously that's not healthy and not something I would ever encourage long-term. But it's neat to see that it's possible through a week of clean eating to really jumpstart your health again. So I just want to share with you some of the highs and lows of going through that process. The first few days were actually easier than I thought just because I was committed. And when you go all in and you're just like, somebody offers you some sugar, a treat or whatever, you just say no and you say, I'm not eating any sugar right now. And you get used to that. And it's kind of liberating, honestly, to just go all in. Now, it's still hard, especially when people around you are eating other kinds of foods and it looks good and you like it. One of the things for me when we started this trek on Thursday was my favorite candy of all time is Zots. I love Zots. They're the hard candy from the 80s. You suck on them and then they fizz in your mouth. And one of my friends brought them specifically to share with me because he knows I love them. And I had to say, sorry, I don't want to have this Zot right now. Now, that was after 10 miles. Had he asked me, or that was before 10 miles of walking, had he asked me at the end of 10 miles, I probably would have said yes. But it is liberating to just be able to say no, to stick with it, and to start to feel the results. Now, if you say no, and don't see any change, it's a different experience. But when you're jump starting your health again, I think you can see some changes because you have so much bloating and inflammation, and going clean, flushing your system, there's some really awesome things that happen with that. It's also amazing, just along that same line, to see, to physically see changes. I feel like and I haven't done this, but if I went back and looked at my video from last week, I would guess that my face is a little thinner this week. 15 pounds makes a difference. And so started to see those changes is a really comforting thing and encouraging moving forward. And so you can take advantage of that momentum for sure. Now, in the past, when I went cold turkey off sugar and drinks and things like that, I found that it was really hard for the first few days, really the first couple weeks, because you still have those cravings. That wasn't the case this time. I felt like I got there much faster, where it was easier, faster. And I wonder if part of that is just because I was so committed to this, but also I was exercising more regularly. I had a routine that I got into that was really comfortable, and most people can't do this. I was waking up, doing a little bit of work early in the morning, but then going on a jog, kind of like early mid-morning, and then going home, either lifting weights or doing yard work. And I did a lot of yard work this last week. And so having an hour, 2 or 3 outside, continuing to do physical activity. So many days, instead of eating right at 11, I was eating at 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock for the first time of the day, just because I'd been busy up to that point. And so then that made it easier to get through the afternoon, to get to dinner. And I just found like I got into a good routine. Those first 4 days, I already lost 10 pounds in the first 4 days. And then I kind of just maintained while I was out on this trek. And so it worked pretty well. I still had a few struggles. I didn't sleep perfectly every day. And, I had to focus on this and concentrate on it. It was intentional and it did take time. But the results were super positive. Oh, a hawk just flew by. I don't know if I can get a shot of it, but I love being out on this trail to see that from time to time. Let's move forward. So what's my challenge for this next week? Honestly, I've seen enough, like, remember the old show, The Biggest Loser? And there were other reality shows, and then my own health journey and the ups and downs. After a big week like this, losing a lot of weight, it's the second week that's really difficult. And so my challenge for this week is gonna be, I didn't have a perfect week last week, and I have less on my calendar this week. So I'm gonna try to do the exact same thing one more time, week 2, and see what happens. Now, if I lost 15 pounds last week, generally my rule of thumb, what I've seen from my own personal experiences, whatever you gain in a week or in a day or any set period of time, it will take 3 times that amount of time to lose it. So if I gained 5 pounds in 1 week, it's gonna take me 3 weeks to lose 5 pounds. Well, 2 weeks ago, I gained 17 pounds, and that rule would say it would take 3 weeks to lose it. However, the first week's always the best week, and the second week is usually hard, and then the third week kind of evens out. Well, I don't want that to be this case, and so my goal is to have a perfectly clean week 2, and see if I can lose another 5 or 6 pounds to get back to less than I was before my vacation. So that's the goal, is to continue to eat clean for a week. And again, what that means, a perfect week for me, means 2 meals a day, with the first meal being after 11 a.m., no snacking at all, only drinking water, no sugar substitute drinks or sodas or juices or anything like that, just water. Trying to eat good foods, not highly processed foods, high on the veggies and the lean proteins, so I'll do that. And then trying to do 4 days this week of cardio, 2 days of strength training, spend time outdoors like I am right now, walking. That's a perfect week. So that's the goal for this week, and I'm hoping to lose 7 pounds. I hope you're in it with me.